The Fox 61 News at 6 starts now.
And tonight, new details about that school bus crash involving students from Nonawag High School. We're learning how many students were on board and how many were hurt. And the charges now filed against the driver who police say caused the chain reaction crash. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Annette Montgomery. Fox 61's Jalen Anderson has the latest on what we know tonight from Southbury.
We've learned a total of 8 students were on the bus at the time of the crash. Superintendent Brian Murphy says 5 of them were sent to the hospital, 2 of which had serious injuries.
Police say the crash happened on Southford Road near Jeremy Swamp Road when a car driven by 65-year-old Richard Estee hit the back of the bus, leading to the bus hitting another vehicle. We went back to the area near where the crash happened. Several drivers we spoke with say an incident like this is terrible, especially in such a busy part of town. In an email sent to parents in the district that was shared with Fox 61, Region 14 Superintendent Brian Murphy says his thoughts and prayers are with the students and their families, and counseling services were made available to students at Nonawag High School. Estee was arrested and charged with driving under the influence and failure to obey a traffic signal. He has been released on a $25,000 bond. Now the Woodbury Family and Friends Alumni Association is working in coordination with local parents and community members to raise money for the students who were injured in this crash. Fox 61 reached out to the Southbury Police Department for more information on the accident, but have not yet received a response while the incident is still under investigation.
You can find out how you can help donate on our website, fox61.com. In Southbury, Jalen Anderson, Fox 61.
Thank you, Jalen. Watertown police say they believe sun glare may have been a causal factor in a multi-vehicle crash involving a school bus this morning. Officers say there were 10 students on board at the time. Thankfully, none of them were hurt. It happened on Gurneystown Road around 8:20 a.m. Officials say a car hit an SUV, causing it to hit the bus. Police tell us 2 people in those other vehicles were hurt, but they are expected to be okay. And the crash is under investigation now.
Local leaders in Tallinn say they feel blindsided after learning the state intends to build a 20-bed secure criminal detention center for serious juvenile offenders in town. Fox 61's Alicia Hercules explains the plans for the detention center and how the community feels about the decision.
The people I spoke with say they are shocked that town officials weren't initially informed by the state. Some say they simply don't want it here.
Absolutely not.
Laura Ayudi has lived in Tallinn for more than 20 years. She says this detention center is concerning.
It's scary. It's not a good idea.
She thinks something more constructive for her community would be a better fit.
The higher ups who think about these things, like, why not good things for the kids in Tallinn? Why detention centers?
The 20-bed secure juvenile detention center for serious offenders is expected to be built at 303 Murrow Road. In a Facebook post, Brian Foley, the town manager, says they were blindsided by this news. He says a state representative was informed by an attorney representing the state of Connecticut Judicial Branch. Through research, they learned the state has entered a purchase and sale agreement with the owner of the property. Due to a non-disclosure agreement between the state and the seller, Foley says the state won't share any more information with them. Foley says the state never notified any town official, state representative, or their state senator.
I don't love it.
Kathy Gorski has lived in the town for more than 20 years. She says the lack of communication between the town and the state is concerning.
I do feel like if the state were more forthcoming in their information and inform the town council about it, it would make me feel a little bit better about it.
Town officials have voiced safety concerns as Murrow Road is a heavily traveled road and is near several businesses. Other people we spoke with who drive through the area say they were surprised but aren't too concerned.
I mean, I wish I would have known, but now that I do know, I think it's okay.
The town manager says they're exploring their legal options and will be discussing this matter at their next town council meeting on February 24th at 7 o'clock. In Tallinn, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.
Switching gears to weather, is it too good to be true? It will be above freezing for the rest of this week, and next week it's looking even warmer.
Yeah, you might want to think about a nice romantic round of golf for Valentine's Day.
No,
Right?
don't say that.
I know, Aaron will do it. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank standing by here with the first check of the forecast, Rach.
Hopefully he's not watching right now. I'd like some attention. Here we go. Tomorrow we are going to see temperatures turn a little bit cooler by the time you wake up. What are we also following? The potential for a coastal storm Sunday night into Monday. It is likely a miss, though, although we'll get awfully close. And what do we have coming up next after those cooler temperatures for tonight? A few snowflakes right around daybreak on Saturday morning. But overall, we're not expecting much of an impact from that, although there could be a quick coating of snow. Here's a look at temperatures right now, close to 30 degrees across most of the state, but it's still breezy, so it feels cooler than that when you factor in the wind, gusting up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Temperatures tonight will be falling back into the teens inland and near 20 degrees for the New Haven area. Tomorrow looks beautiful, cool start to the day, but a nice, pleasant finish. Lots of sunshine. It should be a little less breezy than today as well. Highs will climb into the mid and upper 30s. We'll take a closer look at the weekend forecast, where you're going to spend time with your loved ones and not play golf, coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. A fire forced 5 people out of their Berlin home this afternoon. Thankfully, everyone is okay. Firefighters say they were called to Ripple Court at 12:19. They say there was heavy smoke coming from the basement. Crews put the fire out within a very short amount of time. There was some smoke damage and minor structural damage, and the cause is under investigation now.
Well, police say a Norwalk man stabbed someone after stealing their phone earlier today. It happened on South Main Street just before 12:30 a.m. Investigators say Christian Ioseda stabbed a man in the upper left chest area just below the collarbone. Now, that victim was hospitalized and is expected to recover. Officers say they later found Ioseda with the victim's phone and a knife. At this time, it's unclear what led to that stabbing.
A woman was extradited from Florida to a Connecticut courtroom this morning in an identity theft case. Kimberly Maine is accused of breaking into 3 cars, stealing IDs and bank cards, and then withdrawing $27,000 in South Windsor. It happened in July of 2021. A year and a half later, Massachusetts police arrested Maine for fraudulently withdrawing money from a bank. And they say they found one of the IDs on her that she stole back in 2021. Maine is being held on a $75,000 bond.
Tonight, we have new details about a string of armed robberies in Meriden. Now, those robberies took place between the months of September and November. Corey Alexis and Gardy Roman were both arrested today after Meriden police said their investigation revealed that during a gas station robbery back in October, Roman was armed with a knife, jumped over the counter, removed money from the register, and left the scene. Roman was originally charged with robbery and 5th-degree larceny, which has now been changed to 3rd degree.
A Wolcott man faces federal charges in what prosecutors say was a years-long cryptocurrency fraud scheme. Authorities accused 24-year-old Elmine Redzepagic of promising investors high returns on crypto investments, then telling them they needed to pay extra gas fees to unlock their profits. Instead of investing the money, prosecutors say he funneled nearly $1 million to an offshore gambling site where the funds were apparently lost. A grand jury indicted Redzepagic on 21 counts, including wire fraud and money laundering. He says he's innocent. Governor Ned Lamont announced his plans to create a supplemental loan program for graduate students at UConn Hartford today. The program would be run by the Connecticut Higher Education Supplemental Loan Authority, also known as CHESLA. Now, this comes after changes to the federal student loan system under the Trump administration. Starting in July, new borrowing caps will affect many graduate students, including those in nursing, physical therapy, social work, public health, and education. CHESLA officials say the federal Grad Plus loan program had been a key financing option.
With that program being eliminated, students are now facing a cliff at exactly the moment when enrollment decisions must be made. Private market alternatives often carry double-digit interest rates, less transparent terms, and fewer borrower protections.
He said this loan solution will make use of a fiscally responsible blended approach.
An initial $10 million state bond authorization would support approximately 400 graduate students. CHESLA will augment these state funds with its own $20 million bond issuance to extend assistance to an additional 800 students. Together, that means roughly 1,200 Connecticut students could receive affordable fixed-rate financing in the program's initial phase.
Herlock says they already have the lending platform, servicing infrastructure, and bonding experience in place to move forward with implementing this program.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency revoked a scientific finding today that greenhouse gases endanger public health. Now, this finding has been at the center of the climate change fight. The ruling gets rid of all federal greenhouse gas emission standards for cars and engines for 2012 models and onward. It also scraps the related compliance programs and special credits, including for features like the start-stop system in vehicles. The White House proposed the idea last July. The EPA says this change doesn't impact rules that limit traditional air pollution or toxic emissions. Now, the Trump administration argues the change gives car makers clearer rules, lower cost, and gives consumers more choices. But some Democratic leaders in the state think differently. Connecticut Attorney General William Tong says, quote, over and over again, we see Donald Trump siding with big oil. He wants to sell out future generations of Americans for short-term profits for fossil fuel companies and the world's biggest polluters. But we are going to stop him. The science and the law are firmly on our side, end quote.
Well, Pratt & Whitney will soon begin producing more F-135 engines. Aerospace and defense company RTX landed a contract worth up to $230 million. The deal supports 138 propulsion systems headed to the U.S. Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, as well as international partners and foreign military sales customers. Issued by Naval Air Systems Command, the contract keeps production on track through May of 2031. The money comes from U.S. services and overseas partners. None of it expires this fiscal year.